Do you want to know how to buy an Airbnb with only 10% down? Maybe you do, but you're confused on where to start, who to talk to, what you need to do. If so, this video is for you because we're going to answer all of those questions. Hey guys! So today's video is going to answer a question that comes up over and over again, whether it's on our TikTok profile, the Instagram comments, people slide in our DMs. People always ask, Tony, Sarah, how are you guys buying Airbnbs with only 10% down? We've had some people say that we're crazy. Some people say that we're lying. Some people say that we're going to jail.
No! No! No!
We've gotten every comment under the sun. So instead of us trying to explain exactly how it is that we do it, although we have done it, but we wanted to bring in the expert. So we brought in our lender, whose name is Brenna, who's lent to us on multiple deals now at 10% down, and she's gonna break down all the questions that you guys have.
So I am actually completely hands-off with that side of the business. I become involved once it becomes like operational. So anything about lending, how to acquire the property, I am not familiar with. So I was really excited to sit down with Brenna in person to ask her all of my rookie questions. And I really think they're gonna be helpful for other rookies watching here.
So with that, let's get into the interview with Brenna. All right, so we are here with our amazing lender, Brenna, used to be Maples, but recently married, now Brenna Carls. So we know one of the questions that pops up on almost every single video that we upload is, what are you guys doing for lending? How are you guys buying short-term rentals with only 10% down? How are you guys doing this? How are you guys doing that? So we figured, let's just bring the person that has the answers, that can break it all down for you guys so you can, hopefully get all your questions answered. So Brenna, the 10% down vacation home loan, break it down. What is it? What are the benefits? What are the downsides? And just give us the kind of run through here.
So basically, at first, it's designed to have like a vacation home loan, right? So you're supposed to vacation there at least 15 days out of the year. Guidelines don't really say that. They've said 14, so I just have come up with 15 just to kind of give you that clearance of being okay. And then the rest of the time when you're not there, you can rent it out and file that rental income on your tax returns as your income. So you probably hear people like, oh, I want to quit my W-2 job. That's the start of it. And so the 10% down is really good for, if you're here like Smoky Mountains or anywhere you want to vacation, basically, to get that loan, go learn the area, get your favorite restaurants, but then also be able to rent it out when you're not there. Knowing the area kind of helps you familiarize your clients and your people that are coming to stay there and making them feel more at home. Lower interest rate than any other loan. You can get your interest rate in the low 3s to sometimes low 2s.
Just so you know, Brenna, between Tony and I, just like the financing piece of what we do, real estate investing, I have very little knowledge in this. So I am here with all of you guys watching. I'm very clueless, so I was very excited to sit down with Brenna. Tony handles all of the financing, pieces for all of our properties. So
yeah, Omid, Brenna, and I have like a group text. So anything that's going on.
When a property closes, I don't find out until like when it happens, just because I'm so far removed and so disconnected from all that. So I have a lot of questions for you. So just with what you just said, obviously the 10% is more sexy for everybody, right?
Okay.
Does everybody offer that?
I think most lenders can offer that 10% down because it goes off of Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and you're allowed to do the 10% down second home loan. However, a lot of lenders don't realize that you can rent it out when you're not there. They don't know the guidelines behind it, and so therefore you may be able to get qualified for a 10% down home loan. And then let's say the appraiser goes into the house and they're like, oh, there are people staying there that were renting it. Well, then the underwriters and that lender will automatically think that that's, going to be your prime choice for that loan, and then they'll deny it. So you're like 20 days into your loan and then it gets denied, you lose your earnest money. And so it's just, you want to go with a lender that doesn't just offer it, but also knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. You keep mentioning the guidelines. like whose guidelines are these? Are these like the state, the county? Like where are these guidelines coming from that you as a lender kind of have to follow?
The mafia.
By order of the Peaky Blinders.
No, I'm kidding. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the secondary markets where you can sell a loan to, and then it goes to Wall Street and stuff like that. And that's their guidelines of how they can sell their loan. So from us on the brokerage side, we close your loan. We then sell it to Fannie. We're a Fannie shop. So when you say Fannie shop, we sell our stuff to Fannie Mae. And then they will sell it on Wall Street and make their money. So you have to follow the guidelines that they have set in place to be able for them to buy that loan. And so they're the ones that come up with the guidelines, like you can do 10% down, the gray area of how many days you have to stay. They basically say your intention has to be for it to primarily be a second home first. I think to primarily be a second home, you at least need to stay there 15 days out of the year. Again, one, to know the area so you can tell it to the people that are in your cabin or beach house or West Coast house or what have you, and then also be able to keep that compliant as a second home loan.
So the 15 days, that number may vary from lender to lender. Yeah. Some might say more, some might say less, but every lender is going to have like a different way of how they interpret that guideline from Fannie or from Freddie. Okay. And then the second question you asked, which is a good one, babe, was like, in terms of keeping track, like, do we need to have some kind of documentation that we're reporting about how many?
Upload our Instagram pictures.
Yeah. How do people keep honest with that?
It's just your intention. You do have to sign an FBI occupancy cert. So you may not have realized that when you signed your documents, but you signed something that says you primarily intend for it to be a second home. Now, do you think that I'm going to come here and drive by your cabin to see if you're staying here? No, it's just your primary intention at the time of the loan. So that brings a good point that I wanted to bring up. Some people will purchase something like a smaller cabin for their second home, and then they get into short-term rental stuff and they realize they love it. And then they start making money and they're like, well, you know what? I want to vacation at a nicer home than the one that we eventually did. And so you can actually, I say 2 year time, you can change your mind to possibly refinance that second home into an investment property and then get a nicer or whatever type of home for your other second home loan in that area. You can have a second home loan in every area of the United States if you wanted to, but only one per specific area.
So what is, like, we're in Pigeon Forge right now. We're in one of our cabins that Brenna actually helped us close on. Yeah. So if I wanted to buy another second home down the street from here, can I do that?
So your primary intention has to be a second home loan, right? So you can't go buy another second home here because can you vacation in 2 spots at once? No. Now, can your parents go get a second home here? Yeah, because sometimes y'all might not want to stay with your in-laws or whatever and want to have your private time. They'll have their cabin, you'll have yours. So your parents, family members, it's just you specifically can only have one second home in each location.
Okay, so second home, aka vacation home, aka the 10% loan, right? Are these all connected, right?
Yes.
Okay, very confusing. I hope you guys got that because my brain was going crazy. Got it. I understand. Thank you.
We know that we can't buy in the same city, but like, is there a specific radius in the guidelines that I have to, like, is it 50 miles, 75 miles in between vacation homes, or is it kind of gray?
I believe most of them say 40 miles. But again, if you have a lender that knows what they're doing, there is a difference between, I don't know how familiar you are with this area, but I'm going to use this area as an example. So right now we're in the Smoky Mountains, mountainous views, cabin views. But then right down the road is the lake in Dandridge, Tennessee. And that's totally different, right? That's fishing, that's jet skiing, that's smiling on a jet ski or whatever you hear. And so that is totally different than mountainous views. That's for more recreational stuff. And so you can actually have a second home there and a second home here because they're 2 totally different markets. Yeah. And so a lot of people will be like, well, can I have a second home in Destin and then a second home 45 miles up the road at the beach? No, you can't, because it's the same, it's the same beach, it's the same ocean. So you just have to understand the market, do your research and see what the difference is in that same area.
So there are some limitations that come along with the vacation home loan, right? We touched on some of them. So one is the geographic limitation, right? That you can't have more than one in the same kind of geographic area. Now, what about how many I can actually have in my name? Like if I wanted to have a vacation home at, every national park in the United States, am I able to do that? Or is there some upper limit on how many of these that I can have?
If you own them free and clear, you can have unlimited for conventional financing. So conventional, again, is that Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac where we sell it off to the conventional lenders. They say that you can only have a max of 10 residential properties that are financed in your personal name. So if you have 9 and you want to get that 10th one under a conventional, you can definitely do that. If you have like 9 properties but only 8 are financed, well then you have 2 more that you can finance and still own more than 10 properties, if that makes sense. Now, this will probably change the conversation to a different type of loan. We have what's called portfolio loans, or you can call them commercial hybrid loans, whatever you want to call them. They are not conventional, which means they are not ran by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And they actually, some of them allow you to have unlimited financed properties. So there's definitely a lot of different avenues. Now with that portfolio or commercial hybrid, there is not that second home loan option for 10% down. That is just with a conventional financing method.
We know that there are some limitations, but in addition to like having the 10, you also have to think about your DTI, right? Like you have to think about your debt to income ratio, because even if you only have one loan, if you can't qualify for the next one from a debt to income perspective, then you're still kind of capped out. So and you kind of touched on this, what are some of the other options that someone has if they want to purchase a short-term rental outside of the 10% down loan that are kind of popular? So
once your debt to income is capped, which means your debt to income ratio. A lot of people don't understand what that means. That means your monthly debt that reports on a credit report. So car loans, mortgages, revolving credit like credit cards, even if you're a co-signer, it will show up on your credit. That's a totally different long conversation we can have. But you're capped most of the time at 45% debt to income for jumbo loans. Most people do 43% debt to income on that, but if you're cool, you find a way to get to 45% as a lender. And then you can go up to 50% for conventional as long as Fannie or Freddie approves that, which is pretty automatic when we find that out. And so once you hit that, you can go to just an investment only property, which means you can do as little as 15% down. So guys, it's not much more at all than 10% down. 15% down, you can use what's called proposed rental income. And so what that is let's say we purchased the cabin that we're in now, and let's say it was $400,000. Let's say that the proposed rental income is probably around $50,000 a year. Then you can use that divided by 12 months to use towards your monthly rental income, and it offsets your monthly mortgage payment or more. Now, the caveat to that is most of the time, Fannie or Freddie want you to own your primary residence, as in having a mortgage on it, as opposed to rent it, to be able to use that rental income to offset it. And then there's the other loan, the debt service coverage ratio loan, that is not conventional, that we can talk about in further detail, that allows you to do that as well. And sometimes you don't even need to own your primary residence.
Please zoom in on her face with what she just did.
Confused.
We'll break it down.
This is just very confusing to me. I hope you guys are getting it, but there's just so much that goes into finance. There's so many levels and layers to it, and I think finding a good lender like Breezy Brenna over here is crucial to the success of your business, because if they don't know what they're talking about, then you won't know what the heck you're talking about. So Tony was pretty already, well versed in the real estate world, but I think you also learned a lot from Brenna and awesome people that we've worked with. So thank you, Brenda. I'm learning, and I hope you guys are picking up on this. Maybe this is a dumb question, but how do you freaking find a lender? Is that something your realtor connects you with? Is that an automatic connection? Or are you, as the person interested in buying the property, supposed to scout out different potential lenders? Can you use that same lender over and over and over again? Or does it have to be in that same market that you're investing in?
So let's start with how you find a lender. So basically, what you guys are watching right now, people that are experienced in whatever you're wanting to do, short-term rental income, long-term rental investing, whatever you want to do. If you listen to Tony and them on their podcast or their YouTube site, and we're all on that forum, you can find lenders that know what they're talking about, through listening to people and taking their recommendations. And that's how you kind of build your rapport with people and how you start getting recommendations to lenders that know what they're doing. With different areas of the country, for the 10% down loan, you actually, if you're not working for a bank, so when somebody's working for a bank, they don't have to be licensed, which I want to warn you guys on that there are plenty of good loan originators with banks. I came from a bank originally, but a lot of them do not know what they are doing in the short-term rental income aspect or the long-term rental. They're more of like the primary housing residence. So just double check on that in that area. But as any podcast or book that you read in short-term rental income, you want to kind of vet your loan originator. Do they know what cash on cash return it means? Do they know what cash flow means? Do they know what their favorite restaurant in that area is? If they don't know that question, you don't want to go with them because they don't know what they're talking about. And 8 times out of 10, you will lose the deal because they will not approve your loan. Currently, there's certain states that if you're going with somebody that knows what they're doing, like a brokerage, like we are, if you're not licensed in that specific state, you can't do the 10% down loan. But until then, I actually know a broker out there that kind of knows what they're doing out there or knows, so then I'm the one that can recommend you something from you seeing, my recommendation from you guys or Bigger Pockets or any short-term rental Facebook group that you're on.
So just because you're my lender in Tennessee, that doesn't automatically give you don't like you have to get licensed or something to be able to do lending in California
on the second home loans. So I can do different loans like the investment only. But honestly, like I won't offer that product or I won't offer my lending services in that area until I actually research the area. I go visit it myself and learn. Not all lenders will do that, but you want to make sure that your lender knows that area. And I'm going to be honest, like I want to buy a house in Kansas. I'm like, okay, well, I'll try to find you a lender because it's not me,
What is maybe like one mistake that you see a lot of new-ish investors make when they're trying to get some kind of lending for a short-term rental?
There's many books out there that will talk about this, but it's basically like squashing your own success. And you can call it analysis paralysis. Analysis. And now, yes, I've got it. All right. Anywho, so just don't overthink things. Like trust the lender that you're working with. Again, make sure they have a vetted relationship with somebody that you've listened to, that's your mentor, that they know what they're doing, and just trust the process with them. And it's very important to find that relationship before you do that. I promise you, it's not that complicated when you work with somebody that knows what they're doing because they will walk you through every step of the process.
So I think a lot of people get into real estate investing with the dream of becoming financially free, leaving your W-2 job and living that lifestyle. So how can you continue investing and getting approved for these loans without having that W-2 generating income to report to the lenders?
So once you start obtaining these properties, you will file it on what's called a Schedule E on your tax return. And that is the rental income from each separate property that you own for the year. And that is counted as like just as good as W-2 income or better. It's, it's final flat numbers that you can use. Also, again, talk to a lender that knows what they're doing because there's options out there that don't have to go off of your debt to income for these loans. They're called debt service coverage ratio loans, which are becoming really popular, which I really like. It's not just a cakewalk or every single person can do this. So don't sell yourself short. Don't give yourself a hard time if it's a little hard at first. It's going to be hard at first because you're learning how to make a lot of money for yourself. So just give yourself grace and talk to people, who have experienced it before.
Brenna, thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, we've gotten so many questions, comments, people telling us that we're going to go to jail because we're using these mortgages to use them as short-term rentals. So thank you for coming in and setting people straight. And if we go to jail, it'll be all three of us together. So, So Brenna, let the people know, where can they find out more about you?
You can go to my website. It's www.mortgageshop .co. It's the new hip way. It's not .com. It's .co, so .co, so www.mortgageshop.co. You can also email us at info@mortgageshop.co just for generalized questions. I have a bunch of different options for you guys to learn how lending works and get ahead of your competition in that aspect.
All right, that's it for today, guys. Hope you learned a lot and enjoyed the show. I'm Sarah.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Brenna.
And we are the Real Estate Robinsons. Yay!